Good evening, everyone. My name is Vrinda, and I would like to welcome you all to yet another edition of Café New Canadians. Café New Canadians is a weekly virtual chat series where we discuss topics that matters to immigrants and to newcomers. Café New Canadians is brought to you by New Canadians. New Canadians is a weekly TV show and web series exclusively designed for newcomers and would-be immigrants. We present helpful information on settlement, education, and other targeted services which are exclusively for newcomers to Canada. I'm your host for the day, Vrinda Bhatt, and I have a wonderful team of people with me right now to talk about virtual volunteering. I would like to welcome Mirna Al Sabbagh, General Manager, Stakeholder Engagement at Costa Immigrant Services, Sukhjit Singh, Career Strategist and Volunteer Ambassador, Hana Qader, Immigrant Volunteer, and Komal Parekh, Immigrant Volunteer. Welcome you all.
Thank you very much, Rhonda.
Thank you, Vrunda.
You're
Thank
welcome. So we are celebrating Virtual Volunteer Week, but before we introduce the topic, I would like to say if you have any questions, please type it to us in the chat below or on the chat box on YouTube, and we would like to answer them. So today's topic is my favorite, being a newcomer, which is virtual volunteering. And for the unversed, we are celebrating Virtual Volunteer Week starting from 18th to 24th. This year, the theme for Virtual Volunteering Week is the value of one and the power of many. So to start with, I would like to start with Hana first. Hana, tell us about the volunteering experience that you came to Canada, I think, over a decade ago, and ever since you have been volunteering. So tell us about that experience and what it means to be a volunteer in Canada.
Thank you for having me this evening tonight. I came to Canada in 2011 and I started volunteering 2 years ago with an organization. I'm still doing volunteering for them. And I am currently volunteering for two organizations, SAFs and COSTI. In my experience, I have been involved in the volunteering, working as a volunteer here in Canada. Helped me socially to make more friends, to knowing more people in different backgrounds and different places in this country. I remember first I started doing volunteer. My English is very low because I just started studying English, and I think I was in level 2 or 3 ESL. So yeah, I couldn't even talk in English like 2 sentences properly, but because the agency that I was doing volunteering for them, having different places, different people from different places, like who are talking the languages that I know, Arabic, Farsi, Turkish, or whatever. So slowly, I started to build a relationship with the organization and with the managers, with the staff there, with the volunteers and newcomers who came to the agency. And I gained experience, and I gained now the different background of the people and what's their problem, what's their idea, what's their plan for future in this country, why came here, what's their plan, what's their goal. Then slowly, I built a relationship with other volunteers while they doing volunteering. Like in the beginning, I didn't have the knowledge of the volunteering. Why doing I just want to help the organization who helped me, who gave me a hand. Then I want to give them a hand back, but I didn't have the proper idea for the doing volunteering. What's mean volunteering? Why they do volunteering? So slowly, I get in volunteering, helping you socially to make friends, economically helps you to get hired and to have more chance with the agency or with the places that you do volunteering to be hired. Regarding on your experience, you will have a knowledge and experience in so many different things in
Very
this
true.
country.
Very true.
Yeah.
Same question for you, Sukhjit, who I know you for a fact that you are a volunteer ambassador, always promoting volunteerism among the newcomer community. I would like to know from you, when did you start volunteering and how has the experience been so far? And where did you start volunteering?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. First of all, happy National Volunteer Week to everyone, and happy Earth Day also. I'm wearing green to celebrate both. I will say when I started volunteering is exactly like what Hana mentioned. I came to Canada almost 10 years ago, and it took me 3 to 4 weeks to actually realize that my job search is not what it should be, and I was introduced to this word volunteering by one of the non-profit organization, and then when I checked with my small network with those with whom I was doing a bridging course, there was a mixed kind of response. It is good or it is bad. And when I checked with beyond that, the response was again mixed. But majority of the time, the response was why you will work for free. But then I had heard enough about the benefit of volunteering, and I thought, why not to try it? There is no harm because once you are a volunteer, nobody can fire you. Second, you don't lose a job by doing a volunteer work. But then as soon as I jumped into this ocean of volunteering, I started with one organization, and I could see the impact on me, my mental health, my network, because as a newcomer you don't have a network. So when I started volunteering, it substantially changed my life, and I want to end up by saying that I started as a newcomer, as somebody who want to explore the possibilities and to network, but I did not stop after getting job, after getting settled down. Till this date, I have volunteered with 19 different organizations, and I'm still involved with 5 active organizations. And I just was able to collect some data. I have contributed more than 3,000 hours since my arrival in Canada as a volunteer. So, yeah.
So good to know that, Sukhjit, your story has been really inspiring. I have been a volunteer myself, and I cannot, and a newcomer, of course, I cannot put it in words how gratifying it is to volunteer for the organizations. And I have volunteered at the volunteer center in Peel. So, Komal, my next question is to you that you are a newcomer and you started doing significant amount of work via volunteering. You were quick to, pick up the spirit of volunteering. Tell us about that experience and the difference that it sort of made in your life.
Well, yeah, I clearly remember the time when I came to Canada. I just came here last year, March, just 4 days before lockdown was declared. I came to Canada on 12th of March. And I was in quarantine and just bored like everyone else. And then I also saw the trend that everyone is sitting at home and, they're kind of lost when they're not traveling or something. They don't have any activity to do. And so I just came across one post on Facebook when someone requested that if there is someone who can teach French free of cost, he would like to be a part of it. So that idea struck me, and I have been a French teacher for like almost 8 to 10 years. So I thought, me being a social and outgoing person, why not create a platform for everyone to have something out of work and wherein they can meet each other virtually. And that's how I created a platform last year in April called French Made Easy, wherein I had like around 1,000 people in a week join that platform, and we used to meet
Oh.
every alternate days. And I used to teach them some basic French concepts, and that's how we started discussing French. Now also we have that platform, but as I have already got a full-time job, I cannot do it every alternate days, but we meet every Sunday. Along with that, I also had this within me of helping people. Since I was a child, I volunteered to help someone teach, or anything that they do not get. I used to go and I used to help, and I always wanted to be a part of not-for-profit. So I started volunteering various not-for-profits just to help others. So I started volunteering with Focus on Seniors, which is in Calgary, Alberta, because I knew that during COVID, seniors are the ones who got affected the most. They cannot leave their house or nothing. So that is how I became a part with them. And I was later promoted as, you can say, hiring manager, and to have a volunteer team so we can help seniors in a better way. I also started volunteering with CCIS for their networking events. CCIS is one of the most well-known immigrant services in Alberta. So I started volunteering with them for one of their networking events. And then, as networking is really very important, I was a part of it. And eventually I got a job in the same organization. So till today, though I know that I might not be able to invest that much time, but every weekend I try my best to give time to each and every organization that I'm associated with, and I volunteer because I believe in giving back to the society.
Thank you so much, Komal. I think it's a very fascinating story, and I know how you picked up volunteering in pandemic and just didn't waste any time. My next question is to Mirna. Mirna, I know that you manage a team of volunteer and you manage programs for volunteer at Costi. So could you please elaborate on that and whether you have been a volunteer yourself? I'm sure you have been, but take us through that journey.
Yeah, so when I came to Canada, actually, I started volunteering with a couple of organizations. Unlike others, this did not land me a job, but what landed me a job was my knowledge of the language, because the year I came was when we started receiving the Syrian refugees, so the Arabic language was needed, and I was hired by Costi. During this, we noticed as Costi that the importance of volunteering, because many community members wanted to help the Syrians who were coming to Canada in their integration journey. And even though back then Costi had like, I would say, a shy of a kind volunteer program, my work was mainly to expand on our experiences with the volunteers. So for example, one of the initiatives that we launched was matching volunteers with newcomer refugee families to help them in their, to give them social support and help them in their integration journey. In relation to the skills that I think are like what the benefits for the volunteers, do you want me to talk about this now?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So from this, like volunteers will be from my own observations, when you volunteer, you acquire communication skills, time management skills, planning skills, organization skills. And all of these are soft skills that are needed in any job. In addition to, of course, expanding your network. And if you, for example, you are, let's say, volunteering with a newcomer organization that works in the settlement sector with newcomers, you will be learning about a new culture. Even a new language, you can start picking up like some words from a new language. So in addition to you helping and giving back to the community and supporting the refugees, refugee newcomers or any newcomer, you also are benefiting. So I think it's a two-way.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree with you, Mirna. Second, my question is to Hana. I think from your experience, I'm learning that you have volunteered both before the pandemic and after the pandemic, right? So, and I'm sure Sukhjit also. So, how has the volunteering changed virtually now that everything is online? Any sectors in particular which were affected by that, or how did we just transform from physical volunteering to virtual volunteering?
That's true. I was doing physically volunteering before we didn't have online volunteering for like 7 years, I think. But during the pandemic, we got more clients, and I get offered to do volunteering for other clients virtually. First client, I think, it was a mother and 2 kids who just arrived, like, I think a month before the pandemic to Canada. So from Syria. And they need to be assessed, like, to improve their languages, like, because the clothes got shut down, and the beginning of the pandemic, it wasn't there, like, the online services for, like, most of the students, and especially the newcomers. So they need help to be like continue with the basic studying, like studying English who get from school. So I started to help her every, like, twice a week, once or twice, regarding on her time and her, like, availability. So I was planning every week what she need exactly, like in which part she need help, in, like, the vocabularies and words that she needs to use it, like, every single day. And we were using, like, a real material, like, I was asking her, just look around you, what you have on the table, like, can you name the staff, like, so, like, very simple things. Then she gets improved, and after a few months, when school gets started on September, I think, she said, very, like, I'm thanking you, Hana, I don't need more help, I go to school. Then I get another client. She's planning to go to college, so she has English, but it's like she needs to improve it, and she was needing help and support, like, to get how to get employed, how to find a job. So from Kosti, they asked me to join a group of volunteering, because not everybody can be available every week with the client. So we made a group, like, every month twice, like bi-weekly, or sometime every week. We support her as a group, and because of other volunteers doesn't speak the language that she speak only Arabic. So sometimes I supporting her on my own. Sometimes I just do translation between the other volunteers to the client, like through WhatsApp, and Google Meet.
Yeah. My same question to you: how has, according to you, volunteering changed in, pandemic? And then we also have another fantastic. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up because of time. We have another very good question by the audience. If you would also like to answer that, hey, my name is Alkaya. How has the volunteering impacted you guys on a personal level? So maybe you can talk about that.
For sure, Rhonda. But I will say, the way Hana explained, that's a grassroots volunteering, which is amazing. And I congratulate you, Hana, for explaining it so beautifully well, so that people can relate that very small actions through your volunteer work can impact somebody's life. And coming back to, again, what Mirna was saying, that how impactful it is in the people's life, and especially in the non-profit, and how, if you look at the big picture, it is not easy to manage volunteers, right? And coming back to Komal, I was very touched when she said, and it actually reminds me my journey of coming to Canada. But kudos to you, Komal, that you were able to see that what are your strengths, and you were able to use it. Now, coming back to your question, Rhonda, and I definitely will pass on to answer that question to other panelists, but I call it we power. I call it volunteer power. There are multiple benefits. So for every individual, it is different. Sometimes you do volunteer to network. Sometimes you volunteer just with pure heart. Sometimes you actually strategically volunteer to elevate your profile professionally. And sometimes you volunteer because you have to volunteer, because in students' life, it is mandatory to have some certain hours, right? So for various people, it all depends on why you want to volunteer. And to answer you about how virtual volunteering has transformed, and I tell you one thing, I miss one-to-one, but I have noticed from last 1 year, almost 1 year now, that though we are not able to see in person, we don't visit, but people are volunteering, I think, multiple folds more than what they were doing before. Now there are senior drop-off food programs, senior cause program, and those who are alone, they need some reassurance. There are many organizations who are doing all that. So actually, this is not the new norm, but I think this pandemic has taught us multiple other things. But to me, my personal experience say it did not slow down. It actually went to a different level where we are leveraging on virtual technology in virtual world to engage more. So that's my take on what it looks right now.
Thank you so much. I think it answers the question. Komal, would you like to throw some light on how has it impacted you on personal level? That this is the answer from our audience. Thank you for the question.
Sure. So volunteering has played a very important role for me. Like as I mentioned, I just came to Canada last year in middle of pandemic, and I did not know anyone. I don't have anyone in Canada. So it's just me and my husband. So volunteering was kind of networking for me. I got to meet a lot of new people. And today I can say they've become like a family. I wait for every Sunday to meet my French group. When I go to my other organization, seniors organization, it's a different feeling. Like anything, if I have any festival, I need to celebrate something, it's a give and take for both of us. In fact, it's played such a huge, you can say different, it's made a difference in my life that once I was just doing grocery shopping with my husband, and there was a guy stalking us, and I just looked behind and I asked him what happened, and he's like, are you the person who started the French platform? Was my accomplishment. And my friends and family, they tease me, wherever you go you find one of them. We went for a trip to Jasper, and there I met one of the group members. So it's become like we all know each other. So if there's anything, I know I can reach out to them, or they can reach out to me. Apart from that, the way volunteering has helped me, I want to help others. Like I have learned a lot. I have learned how to get through this difficult phase of life when you come to a new country. It's not only about Canada, it can be any country. I've spent my life before Canada, I was in Middle East. So there also I've met a lot of people who volunteered and who spent their time. And back in India as well. So it's not only important in Canada, I feel it's important all around the world, and how you take it and how you believe in giving back to the society. So it plays a very major role and impact on your life. And once you are into it, believe me, you will feel a different happiness, which
Very
you
true.
not get it from your actual professional work life.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Mirna, I think you can answer the next question we have from Jasmeet Kaur, one of our audience member. Please do mention some of the organizations to volunteer for, how to get in touch with them, and how to get started with the procedure, etc., etc.
So if those who are listening to us are interested in finding volunteer opportunities, if you are like in Canada, you can go to the Canada Volunteers website, and there is a list of many volunteer opportunities there. If you are in the Toronto area, there is Volunteers Toronto as well. A Charity Village, I'm talking here about mainly the not-for-profit sector volunteer opportunities. A Charity Village also, you can go to the website and you will find many volunteer opportunities. A couple of weeks ago, I also a student from Carleton University reached out to me, and apparently she came up with a group of her classmates of an app that is called I Contribute. It's an application that you can download on your iPhone or Android system.
Okay.
You will be able to find also many volunteer opportunities. This is specifically for not only newcomers, for high school and youth like volunteers. And what I would say, like, if you are interested in a specific company or an NGO, you can simply go to Google and find their website. And I'm sure they will have their volunteer page where you can apply to the volunteer opportunities at the specific organizations.
Thank you so much, Mirna.
Yeah, one more thing. Also, like, there are many volunteer fairs that take place in the different provinces and different universities. So I would also recommend checking some of these.
Okay.
Vrunda,
Thank
can
you
I
so much.
add something to what
Yes,
Mirna
yes.
was saying?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
Mirna gave the Bible of volunteer, where to look for. Volunteer Canada is one-stop shop. Even when you go there, pick your province, pick your city, and every local city will have a volunteer center. That is one way to go. Other one is you can choose your volunteer work based on your interest also, because there are many social, ethnic, religious groups where they do volunteer in their own silos, but they do wonderful work, right? Now the season is opening up in Ontario. Like I hope, like, you know what, there was no snow day before yesterday, but we are actually officially in summer. But lot of tree planting, lot of other neighborhood cleaning projects, they are endless. I will suggest that if you live in any city in Canada, and I have learned this core message that volunteerism is a core Canadian value. You don't know if volunteering is happening actually in your own neighborhood. So be aware of what is happening in your neighborhood. Your city is involved. Your school, your college, your university, or if you are not immigrant, if you are born, raised here in Canada, you already know where to go for your volunteer work. But I always say this: sometimes you just want to do because you just want to give back. So those opportunities are endless. I just want to, Vrunda, take one moment, because Alikya asked about how has volunteering impacted you guys on personal level. I tell you, Alikya, I discovered real me by being a volunteer. By profession, I was a computer engineer. I taught in a university. Here you go, come to Canada, you start your journey from zero. And in that search, I spent 6 months just to see what I really want to do in my life. And that call came through my volunteer involvement, that Sukhjit, this is your real call. And I tell you one thing, from an engineer to person working in a social service field, it's a huge transformation. And volunteer work, my involvement as a volunteer it played actually a very important role in discovering me. So that's how it impacted me. My well-being, my mental health, my physical health, everything is in good shape because of my involvement as a volunteer.
So good to know that. I think, Sukhjit, this is something that I can relate myself. I remember I was not getting any job, and I just was applying and applying and applying. So I called up the volunteer center and told them that can I come as a full-time volunteer, as a part-time volunteer, because it was taking a toll over my head. And secondly, we were talking about resources. I would just like to pitch in a little bit and talk about how I got my first volunteer opportunity as a fund development coordinator. It was with Volunteer MBC, and I called up 211. So the helpline 211 is very helpful where no matter where you are in Canada. So 211 can connect you with your nearest volunteer centers. And I want to address some myth busting here, when newcomers are coming from around the globe, how we pursue volunteering in other parts of the world versus how we take it here is very different. People think that volunteering is very easy. You will get volunteering opportunity like this. No, I remember doing multiple follow-ups that, hi, I'm really interested in doing work for you. Can you take me? And then because I showed some interest, they took the interview, and then eventually from fund development coordinator, I moved on to social media coordinator, which was my education qualification. So it's been a journey, but I want to ask one of you maybe that what are the areas where we can volunteer? What are the titles? Because I'm sure a lot of newcomers think that volunteering is maybe blood donation, maybe fundraising. These are the only two areas. These are the myths that we have when we come to Canada, but it's not that. There are so many areas and titles where you can explore. So maybe Komal, Mirna, Sukhjit, Hana, whosoever wants to speak on this.
I will go last in this.
I will start. So I will give the example of cost to immigrant services, for example. Our volunteer opportunities like range from, we need like admin, for example, admin volunteers. Sometimes also we need interpreters if like you speak a language other than the English language. We need some to match with newcomers to give them some social support, as I say, maybe show them around their neighborhoods, help them learn some life skills. Now, currently, we have many, for example, virtual opportunities in relation to children activities. We have a book club for children activities. So we connect you with a family where you can read a story for children and do some activities with them. Some like will be like doing some relief work at one of our temporary shelters, working with either newcomers or the homeless population. Another example that I did personally was joining the Muslim Welfare Canada. They usually host every like Sunday meals and do meals for the homeless. So I went and helped serve meals for the homeless. Like I'm sure in our communities there are food banks. You can go to the food banks and help in like sorting or packing. Currently, they need drivers to help pick up some packages for the seniors. There are some call centers to help the seniors don't feel like isolated in the pandemic, in the lockdown. There are like numerous ones.
Thank you, Mirna.
I would like to add to this. When it comes to volunteering, make a list of your strengths and what you are actually interested to do. For example, if you are an accountant, there are many tax clinics wherein they look out for volunteers to help them out. So you are doing something into your own industry, which would help you out in your professional life as well. If you are a teacher, there are schools who look out for volunteers to train kids before or after, though you need certifications, however, they help them out with that. Also, starting with not-for-profit is the best option because that also gives you all, like it trains you for each and everything. Like if you are HR, you can help volunteer helping clients tailoring their resumes or cover letters. If you are into IT, you can help them out with various online programs, and also not to only focus in their own province because nowadays everything is remote. So why not take advantage of technology and apply for a place where you are actually interested to do and not just doing it for the sake of doing, like, okay, in Canada, they say volunteering plays a very important role. So why not just volunteer for time being? No, do it for your passion. Yeah.
And I want to add something to the same topic regarding on how, as a volunteer, you can creative things, for your future, for your business. You make a business. Like very smart, there's a smart people. I was doing volunteering with a food bank for a few months. I saw very smart ladies who they were asking the organization they were doing volunteer. They say, but I think they were five women and one man. They were saying like, we know how to cook. And we are with the food bank. We're serving people. We're doing our volunteering. We're supporting people. Also, we want to use your kitchen to make a food and serve it to the people and to the staff and the volunteering and the client who comes to the organization to ask them like to their get idea about the food. If we make a good food, so maybe we make we can open our business and restaurant. Like there's a smart ideas, I think, from volunteering, like during you do the volunteering.
100%.
Wonderful. I will add quickly, Hana, this is the best example you gave. I live in Mississauga, and I have actually seen people opening up business and how they have started very small. But I also want to throw a different curveball. Don't only think that you are a newcomer or you want to learn a new skill and that's why you volunteer. I will tell you one thing. You can actually contribute at a very senior level, which can help you in develop your leadership skills. You may be aware of, say, for example, GTA, East Coast and West Coast, Vancouver, and that side is hugely populated with multiple ethnic silos. If you help a mainstream organization excel in their business or giving them new ideas how they can capture the new market,
True.
if you are a marketing specialist, right? So don't only think that you are new, that's why you want to volunteer. You do bring everyone, irrespective of their status in Canada, you do have those unique skills. So that's why the availability of the skill set and the availability of volunteer opportunities are out there. And that's what Mirna was mentioned, like places like where she's working, a wonderful place, McCosty, where they can actually help you connect. And in Peel, we have volunteer organization, Volunteer MBC. Vrunda, I know you are also very active with Volunteer MBC. I started my journey with Volunteer MBC, and that is a same example what Komal was mentioning. Their website is very simple. It goes, you pick your skills, you pick your availability, and boom, there you go. It matches with the what is available and what is not. And again, do not only stick to non-profit. There are many for-profit, corporate, government, and also multiple other organizations. They do look for volunteers. Say, for example, in financial sector, banks, in summer, they used to run marathons, and they needed thousands of volunteers. In Toronto, the CN Tower climb, right? Yearly, once or twice, they used to do this event, and then call comes like whoever want to volunteer. So don't limit yourself. I always say categorize with your skills, as Komal mentioned, skills, your availability, or what you want to learn new. Volunteering is not only to share what you know, but also to learn what others know.
True, true, true. I think because you are mentioning Toronto, I would like to mention there are multiple opportunities with TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, things are not happening. Otherwise, you would spot thousands and thousands of volunteers. And even for that opportunity, I had to go for like 3 different rounds. There was a proper interview, screening, application, etc., etc. So it's not as easy as newcomers may think in their head. And I would like to share a very personal episode which happened with me a few days ago. I was applying for a job and I was scared. So this person where I used to volunteer became my mentor eventually. So he told me that you look scared. Are you applying for some places? I was like, yes, I have my interview. So, and he was like, would you mind if I conduct your mock interview? So these are the gestures that cannot be quantified in terms of, when you are questioned that, hey, why you're not getting any salary out of it? You're not, because I have experienced this question very often, and I'm sure Komal or people from South Asia would be able to throw some light on that we have some myths like that you are quantifying everything. And because you are new, you want to earn money and the focus is money, but it doesn't happen that way, right? So Komal, maybe you want to speak something like on this.
Well, yeah, when I used to volunteer in India as well, I had people telling me, why are you doing this? You are wasting your time. You're wasting your 2 hours. Instead, you can do something wherein you can make some money. However, the satisfaction which I got by doing something free of cost was totally different than doing something wherein I was getting paid for it. Another thing, when it comes to volunteering, people always say Canada, it's all about hidden job market. So how are you going to explore this hidden job market? By developing a network. Now, I've heard people saying that there's COVID, we cannot network. Why? I mean, you have technology to network, meet people online, volunteer. If you volunteer, then people, your professionals will come to know your work, and that is how they will hire you. So that is why volunteering is really very important. In fact, Today, I tell my friends, see, you were telling me what volunteering is going to help you out. This is what volunteering has helped me out. There are people who actually know me for my work. And today, where I'm working, it's just because of my volunteering that people realized my work. And that's why I'm working over there and I'm at this position.
Can I just add one thing to what Komal mentioned? This is the word of social media and show what you mean. What better and what best option you have is actually to get involved in multiple causes, multiple organizations in volunteer role, which actually gives you visibility, right? And actually, one of my mentor in early years when I moved to Canada, right, he's from marketing background, and he gave me the very good tip, right? So visibility and credibility. You can establish credibility, you can also establish visibility. And volunteerism can act as a catalyst which can improve, enhance both at a very substantial pace. So I agree with what Komal mentioned, you know. And Branda, you were mentioning about South Asia. In all cultures, there are taboos. In all communities, there are pros and cons of volunteerism. But what I say in Canada, and I'm going to say it again, when I started volunteering with Volunteer NBC, the first message I got from then manager was, Sukhjit, volunteering is a core Canadian value. I just took that word literally and I put that everywhere in my whatever work I do. Is it is a core Canadian value, and that's why you see many people give back to the community, to the food bank, to whatever the good cause people run. They give very freely, very openly.
Yeah. Thank you, Sukhjit. My next question is to Mirna and Hana. I'm sure, because you have been here for so many years, you were in a position to recruit many people. Has there ever been a time where a person might not have worked, but just volunteered? So, volunteering also helps you to address the gap in your resume, because it might happen that you get a job as soon as you arrive in your respective field. It may happen that you might not get a job, but in that case you can put that experience and in your resume, and maybe the recruiter or the person who is in the hiring committee can select you. So has there ever been such incidents where you recruited the person who just did volunteering?
In our case, it happened many times, actually, more than once. Like specifically, like many of the volunteers that were like volunteer with us as newcomers, they end up finding a job either with us or with other settlement organizations.
And you, Hana, have you ever experienced?
For me, unfortunately, I have in my sector, I have 15 years experience in my back home country in Iraq, and here I'm doing volunteering in the same sector. It has been almost 8 years, but I didn't get a job yet. Yeah, like when you volunteer, you don't think, okay, I do volunteer and I will get hired. It's not the concept of the volunteering, of course. So one of the organizations that I do volunteering for them, SABs, they're looking for always their policy. They're looking for a person who at least have one of the South Asian languages, like Tamil, Indian, and I don't have it. But with Kosti, I hope I get the job. But do you put your volunteering on the resume? Of course it helps. Of course it helps. Like what I'm doing, what I'm here, like it's because I'm volunteering. I didn't do that actual job, but you having me, and I'm one of the guest speaker to your event because I'm doing volunteering. So it's not only you get the job, also you involve with different events, having other different knowledges, like knowing different other organizations. So then you go, like you get your way one day. Of course I get hired from the one of the organization one day, but when, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's also one of a myth that people volunteer thinking that they'll get hired. So if you volunteer with a mindset said that you are, because you want a job, you are volunteering, it will never happen. There are many benefits apart from getting a direct job. There are indirect benefits. For example, you may get a job, but you don't have any local references. So in that case, who would be your local references? And that's where volunteering pitches in. So Mirna, maybe you can throw some light on that.
Actually, many of the volunteers also that volunteer with us, they ask us for recommendation letters, or even like they might ask me to be their reference for like their the work application. So as Hana was saying, like maybe volunteering for a specific organization might not land you a job at this specific organization, but it will help you open doors for other organizations. Like I might, for example, you might be volunteering with an organization that is partnering with another organization that has an opportunity, and they might refer you. This is the hidden like job market that Komal was talking about and mentioning. Like also like the company that or the nonprofit that you are volunteering with might refer you to some another place, or they might be your reference for something else.
And if I might add, Vrunda, to what Mirna was mentioning, that's why I use word strategic. And honestly, believe it or not, in the beginning, I did not go with the strategy to volunteer. I just went for volunteering because some people influenced me to do that. But when I actually applied for a job, there was a process, and I started volunteering. I can tell you that my confidence, which was at this level, went to that level. And what Mirna mentioned, I'm going to emphasize on that. I was working as a volunteer in one organization. I got another volunteer opportunity. And actually, my first job, when it came to, not to me, I applied, I got interviewed. The references which I used were from these two places. And they spoke very high about me, and rest is a history. So I'm so glad that Hana shared her experience, and I congratulate Hana for being so truthful that every volunteer opportunity or any volunteer opportunity will not end up in a job. But I love the way she's a positive person and she's contributing to the society. And I'm pretty sure that her work will be noticed today or tomorrow. But by then, when she is hired, she is already ready to hit the ground running. So congratulations, Hana, and keep doing this good work. I'm really glad to hear that, you selflessly, you're giving your time, your efforts, and listening to you, when you mentioned about how you are helping others, that is the essence of volunteering.
Thank you very much. And just a small point, like, adding to the same topic, like the organizations that I'm doing volunteering for them for 8 years, they don't hire me because of their policy. They're having a policy for having people who speak one South Asian languages, but they give me a very good reference. The manager, one of the managers, Zarina Shirazi, she say, Hana, whatever job you apply for, whatever job, you will have my reference. She gave me even her passport number. She say, whenever, when I applied for citizenship, even in your personal life, you can get support. When I applied for citizenship, she was my grantor. She doesn't hire me because of their policy, but she supports me in other different ways. And I did my placement with them, and she gave me 100% in my placement, which is, very grateful. Like, it's not everyone, like, if you don't get money, okay, I'm done. I'm not done. Still, I'm doing volunteering for them, which I know 100% they don't hire me.
Yeah. So good to know that. So heartwarming. Any tips from you, Komal, if you would like to throw some light on this?
Well, I would only say volunteer for what your heart actually wants you to do, and don't just volunteer for the sake of volunteering, like for getting a job or, whatever. Before coming to Canada, you might have heard that volunteering is important, but actually get deep into it. What is volunteering? Whether you're going to continue it post after getting job, because I've also seen people, they just volunteer till they get a full-time job. Once they get a job, then they stop volunteering. So volunteering is ongoing. So give your time and try to volunteer, even if it's 2 hours in a week, or even if it's 3 or 4 hours in a month, it's okay. Give back to the society, because society has given you so much and you are here because of the society. So why not give back to them?
I think that reminds me that we missed out on an important question, that what's the commitment like when you volunteer? On an average, what's the mandate hours for you to volunteer?
So for me, when it comes to volunteering, it's ongoing. Whenever they need me, any organization, I just tell them, give me a call anytime, and I'll see to it. If I'm not available, I don't answer your call, I will give you a call back and I'll get to it. And when it comes to my own platform, I am volunteering every day. Every day I think of ideas on how I'm going to make it much better. How am I going to make it interactive? How am I going to give back to people? In fact, today I was thinking that because we are just meeting once a week, I have seen that people tend to forget. So what am I going to do to make it more interesting for them? So I think the commitment should be ongoing, or if you're not sure about it, give a short-term commitment so other person does not rely on you, and they know, okay, this particular person is only available for 3 months or 6 months.
Yeah. But Mirna, maybe you can, because you are managing volunteer program, you can throw some light on what are the mandatory hours for a newcomers if someone is joining fresh, and what would be your last tips?
Like, for example, in our case, we ask the volunteers to commit to depending. Like in some cases, for example, let's say if it's interpretation, it's on WhatsApp, so it will be maybe just checking the WhatsApp on a daily basis and replying. In other cases, it might be a couple of hours a week. If it's an admin post, then it might be like 4 hours every day during the week, or like on a part-time basis. It depends, I think, on the post you are applying to. So it's always there. When you are applying for a volunteer post, they usually post like the hours that are needed. So you should be applying to posts that will fit your schedule. This is what I would say, like look at your own schedule, and based on your schedule, when you are applying, just tell the recruiter that this is the time that you will be able to commit.
Can I add a little bit more on what Mirna was mentioning?
Yes, and Sukhjit, you can also perhaps share what would be your last tips.
I will say, be very mindful and start only when you are ready. Second, don't get abused at your volunteer position. That is very important, because I have spoken at numerous events where volunteering was focus was volunteering. I did meet many people who said that their presence was abused, their time was abused. What I mean to say is, onus is on you. When food is not on the table, you can't think about volunteering. Number one, I always say, when you are ready, start doing it and make it as a habit. Because in the beginning, when your struggles are more, I did not volunteer at 19 organizations in 1 year. It is my 10 years of combination. But with time, what I have learned how to manage my time and how to be respectful to the other organization where I'm giving commitment, then go with a very fine strategy. And ultimately, I think Komal, you mentioned, or somebody mentioned, that don't do volunteering like you just want to go in, get your portion, and then bye-bye. That is not right. So what I say, sometimes your heart is there, your heart is not there, but be very respectful. And most of the jobs, volunteer jobs, comes with the minimum requirement. Make sure and do it very formally, because volunteering at a gas station is not volunteering. Volunteering at somebody's event where they are making thousands of dollars and they ask you to work for free. So make sure you make the choice wisely. You have done your volunteering opportunities are exactly like you are looking for a job. Make sure you have done your homework well before you come on board. So as I mentioned, on the name of volunteering, there are many individuals, many organizations, not non-profit, but there are many ABC organizations. They have no name and all that stuff, but they portray that they encourage you to volunteer, but they make money. They don't tell you that. So be very careful. That's why your association with organizations like COSTI, like Volunteer MBC, and multiple other organizations who are known for this work. So go there, talk to them, and then pick, because most of the organizations, one truth is there that majority of the work is available in non-profit sector, and it is very much streamlined, it is very much protocol based, and it is very much fair and square and very open if you go through those channels. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much, Sukhjit. Hana, would you mind sharing some concluding tips with us if you have for virtual volunteering week or volunteerism?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry, I missed.
Can you share some last tips on volunteerism on your behalf as we are slowly coming?
I have nothing else. Just thank you for the New Horizon Media and for Kosti, who trusted me and have me as a guest speaker. And I'm grateful that I shared some of my experience here. I hope audience get some knowledge from the event. Thank you.
I'm sure they will. Your tips have been very useful, and to know about your journey have been very enlightening. Komal, do you have any tips to share on last note?
Well, I would just say that follow your heart and follow your passion and start volunteering. That's all. Because we've discussed everything in an hour. So it's now you have, like, whoever wishes to volunteer, they have to take a call on what they would like to do and then choose organization wisely where you would like to work and be dedicated to work. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Komal. It's been a pleasure having you today. Mirna, would you mind sharing any tips?
So I would only say, from my own view as a volunteer, I usually volunteer when for a cause that will in a way give me fulfillment and this feeling of goosebumps. If I don't have it, I will not volunteer. And I usually think of it wisely. You have to balance, as Sukhjit said, you have to make sure that you are not also being used, and make sure that there is a balance between your personal life, work life, and the volunteer hours. So when you are volunteering, just say it up front. I can dedicate 2 hours a week for the coming 6 months, and that's it. So be upfront about it.
Thank you so much, Mirna. I think it's been fantastic to have all of you. You have shared such fantastic lights. Any tips for concluding tips, Sukhjit?
I will combine everything, and because everything they put, whatever my fellow panelists they mentioned, it is perfectly fit in with this very much discussion on how you can start. But I will say, if you are undoubtful, if you don't know whether you should go or you should not go, I will say try once. Your experience will transform your life. And make sure when you choose that one cause, you have done your due diligence and picked that right cause which is close to your heart. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, Sukhjit. To those who are watching us, this brings us to an end of the fantastic session, by the way. And if you are watching us online, please do click the notification button and subscribe us, because at Café New Canadians, we work very, very hard to bring the best of topics to you, to encourage newcomers, and to, teach the insights from the Canadian market. If you are interested in knowing more about the volunteering opportunity, please click the Volunteer Canada website and find out about the opportunities where you can volunteer. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who have joined us today.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the opportunity because New Canadian Cafe is doing awesome job, and I'm pretty sure that I will follow up with my fellow panelists because I actually have a lot of learn from all of you. And kudos to Hana and Komal for venturing out. And Mirana, thumbs up to
Yeah,
you.
thank-
I learned a lot today during this session.
Thank you. And on a concluding note, you can subscribe our newsletter, and you can also watch us on Omni Television. If you are sitting internationally, you can watch us on YouTube, of course. Do not forget to click the bell icon for updates. And if you have joined using Zoom, please fill our survey because it will help us to bring the best of programming to you. Thank you so much once again. Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.